You are about to hear
today's news talk and the voice of freedom.
That's what this country's all about.
Today's news talk, TNT.
Welcome back, folks. Welcome back. We're in hour number 2 of this live broadcast. I'm Patrick Henningsen, your host. Over to the United States, we talked about the Hunter Biden trial last week in Wilmington, Delaware. Still ongoing. Things are wrapping up. Now, some of the people on the ground have been doing some great independent coverage of this. Of course, one of those is Dustin Stockton, who's joining us right now, of America Mission and other organizations, which he will let us know about during this segment. Dustin, and I also have a copy of that, which is quite something. As you said, I didn't believe it till I opened this book, Dustin, the Marco Polo report. Everything we've seen in the media is like literally the most tame, rated PG material in terms of the Hunter Biden laptop. Everything in here is 100 times worse, and then some. It just, my mind cannot comprehend what is between these covers. And everybody I know who's actually looked at this is, shocked and disgusted, and it's just beyond words. Now, I know you've channeled some of that energy creatively, Dustin, to do some interesting stuff with this, but let's go to the trial. Tell us basically, where is this trial at, and what are your sort of, reactions, highlights, observations on this?
So right now the jury's deliberating. So the closing arguments, basically the entire defense was shorter than the prosecution's closing argument in the Trump trial, because there's really not much defense for Hunter Biden here. The evidence is insanely overwhelming against him on what, frankly, are ridiculously narrow charges. And the report that you just held up, Patrick, the Marco Polo report on Hunter Biden's laptop, is mind-blowing. The way, when we say there's 459 documented crimes, we're not saying like, oh, here's a picture of Hunter Biden smoking crack with a prostitute. It's, here's a video of Hunter Biden with a prostitute. They're both smoking crack. Here's Hunter Biden's text messages with the drug dealer. Here's Hunter Biden's text messages with the pimp to get to the prostitute. Here's Hunter Biden coordinating with the prostitute to get to his hotel room. Here is the payment that Hunter Biden sent, like $2,500 for the hour he spent with her. Here's the Uber receipt of Hunter Biden buying her an Uber to send her away. And then here's Hunter Biden 2 hours later doing the same thing over and over again. But what's really important about this is that this was never intended to be a prosecution, right? The Biden administration, the left, and the media are going to try to say, oh, look, we go after everybody. No one's above the law. The truth of the matter is this was always a cleanup operation. And the reason it is that the Biden Department of Justice filed these charges against Hunter Biden. Now, there are 3 paperwork charges related to purchasing a gun and not filling it out properly, which is insanely minor in comparison to the crimes that are documented in the Marco Polo report, with money laundering, FARA violations, prostitution, human trafficking, drug trafficking. It is a laundry list of things that you could go through. And the thing is, they only brought these narrow charges, and then they immediately tried to strike a plea deal that would have given Hunter Biden immunity on all of the rest of the charges. But because there was a public outcry, and because we filed amicus briefs with the court, the judge ended up throwing out this ridiculous plea deal, which Hunter would have never saw jail, and for pleading guilty on these relatively minor paperwork gun charges, we would not have been able to prosecute him on anything else, essentially. It was so broad-reaching, such broad scope. And this is a good example, right? And I think the Mueller investigation was one, January 6th was one. When we see law enforcement doing stuff that we think looks good, way too often it's actually them going up to cover up the crimes on behalf of whoever the powerful people they're protecting are.
Yeah, because initially they didn't they challenged it, his legal team. So you say there's that plea deal on the back table, but they should have really just come and basically in advance negotiated a guilty plea and just not let this thing go to trial, because I can't see any advantage. Why is this the arrogance, the hubris of the Biden crime family syndicate at play here, or what? How can you explain? It's the biggest own goal ever.
Well, so they tried to. Right. So the thing was, the prosecutors cut a deal with Hunter Biden that he would plead guilty and he would get probation, and that in the language of the plea deal, that he would be immune from prosecution to anything that was talked about or a part of the laptop, which was admitted into evidence for the first time. And so this was the cleanup operation, which was, you know what, like, Hunter, you'll get FACO probation, right? Like, we'll come and you'll have to plead guilty. But you know what? Like, now we've given ourselves the legal out for all of the more serious crimes. And the only reason it got to this point is because of public outcry and the public recognizing what was happening and being like, no. And so when they brought the plea deal to the judge to sign off of it, the prosecution and defense, right? Like, oh, we've come to a deal. Hunter's going to plead guilty. The judge was like, nah, I'm sorry. I can't, in the name of justice, allow you to sign off on all other possible prosecutions for a guilty plea on this. And so both the prosecution and the defense never intended it to get here. And the public really forced them to get it where it is.
The big moment, what I think one of the most important moments of all this so far has been the entry of the laptop into evidence, and then the confirmation from the FBI that there was no tampering with the evidence. So what is on the laptop is on the laptop. Nothing's been added, no tampering. How big is this, Dustin?
I think it's the biggest story, actually. Everybody's focused on the short term and whether they'll be a guilty or not guilty. But here's the thing. The laptop, the blue anons, and the intelligence community and the media. Remember Leslie Stahl? Sir, that we could not validate that, sir. Right? Like, we saw them cover this up. It was justification for the Twitter files showed us that they didn't just take down the New York Post account. They were taking, if I tried to DM the Hunter Biden story to you, they took it out of our direct messages, like Twitter 1.0. This was a massive, massive cover up. And here's the thing. They've claimed it. Oh, Rudy Giuliani fabricated it with Russia. Like him and Vladimir Putin came together to fake the Hunter. It's a Russian disinformation campaign. But to me, the biggest scandal of all of this, so now it's been the actual physical laptop, not a copy, not a hard drive, not like reports about it, the actual physical laptop. They showed it to the jury. They pulled it out and they showed it to the jury. I've seen it with my own two eyes now. And here's what's really important about that. If you've had it for all these 5 years, where are the real charges about the real crimes that were committed? Number one. But number two, why were these conspiracy theories, and not like the conspiracies that like turn out to be true, but like the mainstream media blue anon conspiracies? Why was these 51 intelligence community officials who signed that letter, why was none of this ever debunked if you had possession of the laptop the whole time? Well, I think we could pretty safely assume that if the feds in Wilmington, Delaware, aka Biden country, had the laptop, they were happy to let the fake narratives continue and the conspiracies and disinformation to persist at the expense of a lot of people, right? So all those people who had their accounts taken down for sharing the Hunter Biden laptop story, like before the 2020 election, I think there could be very actionable legal recourse as a result of this being entered into evidence, especially after we get Donald Trump elected for a second term.
Oh, and not only that, you've got the FEC in print there, basically telling, it says in right black and white, they told Twitter it was a hack and leak operation. You got to be ready for a hack and leak operation. So you better contain this thing when it appears. And of course, they knew what was coming, and they got Twitter and big tech to do their dirty work for them by suppressing this right in the heat of a major general election cycle. So that's election interference right there. Multiple levels, agencies, big tech, government, everybody's involved in that. So, I mean, the evidence is pretty, it's pretty overwhelming at this point, Dustin. Now, some great independent media journalism going on. You had a great team there yourself. We saw, of course, Garrett Ziegler from Marco Polo. He was on site, divisive content. Vinny as well in the courtroom. So you guys, I think, came together and gave pretty good coverage. You really kind of got the basics and the main points of what was going on, and it continues this week, of course. So I think you guys have done a great job on something that now there's a lot of mainstream media there, Dustin, but I didn't see a whole lot in terms of, granular detail in the mainstream media coverage. I mean, besides the first 24 hours, they didn't really show much at all. A few courtroom sketches on the media. So, I mean, did you interact at all with any of the mainstream people there on site?
Well, so what's funny, Patrick, is right. Like, I have a crypto project laptop that we've been doing for a long time that's been focused on like bringing this information from the laptop forward. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of Garrett Ziegler and the Marco Polo report. Like there is. I mean, if you want the academic play-by-play of everything on the laptop in a way that you don't have to see 8,000, we'll just say inappropriate pictures of Hunter Biden in all kinds of different compromising situations, like they went through and did the actual work. But when I got there, and I had a big team. So I had 2 people inside the courtroom. I had between 2 and 5 people outside the courtroom the entire time. And the thing that we were probably most struck by is, you're right, there was some mainstream media there, New York Times and the Washington Post and some of the satellite trucks. But what was noticeably missing was the conservative media or the alternative. And the reason it's important is that when I have Vinny or Tim Sharp or one of my guys or JP inside the courtroom, right, like processing through a regular like our filter, it sounds very, very different than when you listen to CNN or ABC or NBC, right? They are processing the information without the filter of the like liberal bias. And so for me, what really irked me with the media angle, like where was Breitbart? Where was the Daily Caller? Where was the Daily Wire or the Blaze? Where were the people? And did they have me and Garrett Ziegler come on? Right? Because Garrett was also in the courtroom. I had a great chance. Like I was really honored. Like I got the first interview with him after Hunter Biden's wife like belligerently confronted him like right outside the courtroom and called him a Nazi POS and other stuff. But I think it speaks to a bigger problem and something that like TNT Radio does a great job of, and that we're going to have to continue to like really like evolve. Citizen journalism is critical now, which is you cannot expect that there's conservative media or friendly media or alternative media. If you're not doing it, it's not going to happen. So like we need more people to step up and just be willing to show up. And the cool thing was, like from that angle, like my guys who went inside the courtroom, one was a lawyer. Like JP's a lawyer. He's no stranger to the inside of courtroom. But the other 2 guys had, unlike me, they've never been in legal trouble. They've never like had to like, they haven't spent time in a courtroom. And so there was a sense from them that like they were almost elated when they found out that they could just, as regular people, go and sit in the courtroom and witness what was going on, and then come outside when the day is done and report to all of us what actually happened. And I think a lot of people would be very surprised that if you're willing to show up most of the time, that's the only requirement necessary for you to like actually be in the middle of these things that are happening that everybody all over the world is paying attention to.
Yeah, because when you're in the courtroom, you can see things, you can see reactions, you can see how the judge or the jury's reacting, or having the prosecution present something and people rolling their eyes or just destroying arguments and things. You can't see any of that stuff through the post mainstream media coverage. But we did get a taste of some of that from you and your team there, and the independent journalists on Twitter Spaces, or ex Twitter Spaces. Afterwards, you guys did Spaces in the evening. And so it gave people a really good, I think, impression of what happened from honest voices that looking at it with fresh eyes. And so, like you said, first time in a courtroom, those are the people you really want to hear from, actually. Now, you did something pretty novel. I think you took this to another level with the laptop challenge, Dustin, and it's definitely one of the sort of primo efforts here, combining politics, media, and activism, and a little tongue-in-cheek as well. Let's go ahead and I got a clip of this. I think people need to see just how much thought you put into this, because it's excellent, and it does the Marco Polo report justice. Let's roll this clip.
What's up, guys? It's your boy Dustin from Laptop outside the Hunter Biden trial in Wilmington, Delaware. I'm coming armed with Marco Polo's report on the Biden laptop. Now, to help spread the word, we're going to play a little game with people today where they pick a number 1 through 636. They show them the menu.
Yeah, on the back.
So, depending on which page they pick, they get $5 if the page depicts prostitution, $5 if it's smoking crack, $10 for sexual chats with family, $10 for the big guy, $10 for international shenanigans, and $10 for rehab. So, some of these pages, people might get 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4 or 5 of these. Like, there's certain pages inside this thing that depict all of these different shenanigans. So we're going to be talking to people here on the street in Wilmington, Delaware, to see what they know about Hunter Biden's crackbook. All right, Dustin here outside the Hunter Biden trial in Wilmington, Delaware. We're asking people, we're trying to show them what was in Marco Polo's report on the Hunter Biden laptop. There's 436 documented crimes laid out very specifically, like with the evidence from his laptop. To show people what's going on, we have a little game today. If you pick a number between 75 and 636, I'm going to open up the report. We'll see what's on the page, and then depending what's on the page, on the back of the sign, we have like a menu of prizes. Sound good?
Sounds good to me.
All right, so Chad, pick a number between 75 and 636.
I'm gonna go 310.
310. Let's take a look at what we've got here. All right. Oh, this is we've got some prostitution here. You can see it here. We've got Hunter Biden with a prostitute. We have them also smoking crack. Let's see. We got our first double winner of the day. 5:30 a.m. A drunken night in Vegas. According to the president's son, after he regained consciousness, there was this Russian 35-year-old, really nice, pure brunette who distracted him. Let's see. Oh, it looks like he got robbed by the hookers on this night. Really tough. I mean, smoking crack with hookers in Vegas. Who could have guessed that they would have taken all of Hunter's stuff? Vinny, let's go. Let's see. I think we have our first double winner. We have $5 for prostitution.
Okay.
We have $5 for smoking crack. And you know what? Because he called her a Russian, I'm going to include the $10 international shenanigans.
Wow.
This is a $20 winner. Congratulations, Chad.
Thank you.
And remember, do not let the hookers steal your money when you're smoking crack with them in Las Vegas. Learn from Hunter Biden.
Look, I mean, it's incredible. Anywhere in that book, any number, what was that? Between 75 and 600 and some odd. and you could just open it anywhere, and there's money to be won. So I don't know, how many of those laptop challenges did you manage to do, Dustin?
We did about 3 dozen in total.
Wow.
And what the reason I said 75 is that, right, a couple people picked like 5, and it was like, a bibliography page or the like dedication page. So like you could see throughout the day, sometimes I gave different numbers. Like I think I moved it to 100 at one point. But Garrett Ziegler, what was cool is so the day we were filming those, we got up early in the morning. We were at the courthouse at like 7:30 in the morning, and we did those until like late in the afternoon. Like we were running around Wilmington doing them till 4:30. And at like 4 o'clock-ish, I started to get a couple of my friends start messaging me like, Garrett Ziegler wants to do a video interview with you, like outside the courtroom, like go find him. And so I was able to, after like doing the laptop challenge all day and like really getting familiar with, if you haven't read the report, like it doesn't do it justice even just talking about it. But Garrett corrected me. I'd been saying like 436 felonies all day. He corrected me. It's actually 459. And so I was underselling the criminal mastermind, or not Hunter Biden himself. But the shocking thing, Patrick, about doing the like man on the street was that it showed that the censorship has worked on this issue, which is there wasn't one person who wasn't genuinely surprised when they saw the pictures and heard the description about like just how insanely degenerate and debaucherous and criminal like the everything on the laptop was. And I can't help but think, if his name was Hunter Trump, every single person in the world would be intimately familiar with every single one of those crimes, and then the ones that they made up on top of those crimes. It would be insane.
Yeah, it's overwhelming. It is literally a tsunami of criminal activity, vice, debauchery, everything that you mentioned. No exaggeration there, folks. It's not rhetoric or hyperbole. It's a lot worse than what we're saying, to be honest. Now that was, I think, really effective, the laptop challenge. Props to you and your team for putting that together. And then also you've gotten into the animation game as well as a vehicle to basically get some of these messages across. We've got one of these here, which I liked because it featured a sort of pastiche of Anderson Cooper in it. The fake news segment here. Let's roll this, and I want you to tell us about this line of media that you're rolling out. But let's go ahead and watch this.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Anderson Cooper, and you're tuned into Fake News. The battle for the White House continues, and we have Dolan Tremp here to talk about it.
Yeah, well, I'll still win the election. Everybody is talking about trial this and trial that. But it's just all fake news, guys. I'm here to make America great again, and that will never change. Vote Trump if you don't want an old zombie running our country.
That's a load of crap. It's not fake news at all. It's real news. I'm not a zombie. I'm a man. I'm a human.
See, you don't know what you're talking about again. Have you been smoking crack with Hunter again, whilst watching his homemade porn on his laptop? Of course you have. Look at you. I think the real question I should be asking is, what kind of crack have you been smoking? Peruvian or Colombian?
Actually, it's Bolivian. We only get the best here in the White House. And my dad hasn't seen my porn collection. He's just asked me to delete the emails on there. That's all.
Yeah, I can't stand that Colombian shit. It's all a load of baloney. And I don't know what emails you're talking about, Hunter.
You see, they can't even get their story straight. You all know what to do, people. Vote for Trump and buy some news token. Believe me, I know a good deal when I see one.
He has a point. With content like this every day, our market cap is criminal. Get in now, folks, while we're under the radar. Thanks for watching Fake News. I'm Anderson Cooper.
Oh, very well done at the end, sliding in the pitch for the coin. So mem coins and politics, activism in an election cycle. What's not to like, Dustin? I think this is cool.
Yeah, so this is this is the culmination of a lot of work that people don't realize. But we call it Politifi, and each one of the characters has their own token attached to it. And a lot of the networks and media characters, we have everybody from Mike Tyson to Nancy Pelosi to Trump and Biden, like represented, there's dozens of these projects now, a collective market cap that is pushing close to $2 billion. And that's the incentive for them to constantly be creating these animations. We've put more than 100 people to work full time, script writers, voice actors, animators, social media managers. I mean, marketers. It's been, we've built out this entire meme ecosystem, and people are just now starting to realize how impactful it can be because we built it on decentralized blockchain technology. And so we're not dependent, like, right, you can't go just delete our content because it lives forever on the blockchain. We've built these incredible like marketing armies who like have a financial incentive to continue to push the content. And we're just now starting to get like some recognition. I was in a space a couple days ago with Donald Trump Jr. And Andrew Tate. And right, like, so the two, yeah, it's hard to think of two like more influential like figures in the media who, and the title of the space was about meme coins. And we are just at the very tip of people like coming to see, like, we've built this ecosystem and it's creating, I mean, there are dozens of videos like that created every single day. And the cool thing is, the crypto is always almost the afterthought, which is for right. And I get that there's still a lot of hesitancy around like cryptocurrency for a lot of people. You don't have to have the crypto, just interact with the content if you like enjoy it. And if you do want to have a stake though, right? Like you're excited about one of the characters or one of the teams and what they're producing. You can add that extra like financial element to it where if the project does well and it gets a lot of attention, the value of your stake in the character goes up. It's something I've been working on for a really long time. They call me the godfather of Politifi because I work with almost all of the different teams. But the other revolutionary thing that we did with it is that it's the only time I've ever seen crypto where all of the projects collaborate and promote each other, which is all of these different teams like have an incentive now because they're all featuring each other in the different content, and we're developing out these storylines. I like to tell people it's a combination of professional wrestling, South Park, and sports gambling, because it kind of has elements of all three, and it's kind of cool to be in a spot where it's really starting to take off, and it's almost mind-boggling to think that we're already $1 billion industry and almost no one knows what we're doing yet.
So Politifi, that is the sort of ecosystem, and I like the fact that it's the creative energy that's driving it. It's the humor, it's the script writing, the characters are amazing. I like the animation style as well. It works. It really works. It's just abstract enough and funny and weird enough. I think it really works. There's something unworldly about it as well. And you've got the voices are so on point. You've got the inflections. You've got it totally works. So I think this is amazing. I remember when you did the March Madness, I think it was, a little over a year ago with the journalism fail where you profiled and made AI generated characters out of all these hacks in the mainstream media and tried to create, you kind of created a market with that in terms of shares and bounties and things like that. So that I could see you're developing the idea, and now you've taken this to another level at the right time during the election season. So I think what this reminds me of, Dustin, is in 2016, the emergence of like Pepe the Frog as a sort of ubiquitous, amorphous character that could take any shape and become anything and do anything. But then from that, it came the left can't meme basically. So you need to be in the underdog position in order to pull this off. You can't do it if you're like wielding power. So I think that's the zeitgeist of it. And you're definitely on it here. So, I mean, there's a lot on your feed right now. So where can people see all these different animations? Is there a clearinghouse for these where people can see all of them, or do you have to follow different artists?
Yeah, so probably the best way for now is to follow me at Dustin Stockton. We are working on building the clearinghouse. Eventually, the laptop project will be like the central hub of all of the different Politifi content. Right? We're still focused directly on the Hunter Biden stuff, but we like the laptop project. Our long-term plan was to be the central hub of all of these different characters and the entire ecosystem. And so because we're laptop becomes the medium on which people will be able to consume all of the different content from the ecosystem. I mean, I have so many favorites I couldn't even like begin to start talking about them. I mean, with the Jones and the AOC, I mean, it's incredibly fun. But it's funny because when I was talking with Don Jr. in that space the other day, we brought up the 2016. We call it the Great Meme War, where we memed the president. We memed the greatest internet troll of all time, Donald Trump, into the White House. And the really great thing about it, Patrick, is politics. We are living in a messed up world. And I spend a lot of time reading news and interacting with people who feel overwhelmed and scared and fearful. And right, I get it. Like, we are inundated with war and pestilence and famine and basically all of the plagues of the Bible. And what I'm reminded, though, of are the words of Andrew Breitbart, which is, we have to be happy warriors. The left, let them have victimhood. Let them be the people who shriek and cry and constantly feel victimized. We can win these battles that we're in, right? The great information war, the propaganda, the fight that we're in for the soul of humanity, which I don't think is an understatement anyway. But we're not going to win if we lose our sense of humor, because at the end of the day, I think people are hungry for politics, but in a way that isn't preachy, that isn't victimized, that is, right, like that has a smile on its face and is able to poke fun and laugh at some of the more ridiculous things that are happening in real life. It's funny because we call ourselves the retard verse, right? Like the animation style has leaned into it. And what I tell people is we are orders of magnitude less retarded than what's actually happening in like what we're supposed to believe is happening in the real world. And so like I listen, if you're a pearl clutcher or you're offended easily, probably not the content for you. But we like to have a lot of fun. We like to push the envelope pretty hard. And I'm really proud of it because, most importantly, it's like holding up a mirror to like the clowns who have lied to us for so long, the people who represent one thing to us when they're on the campaign trail, when they're back home, and then go to Washington, D.C. and do something else entirely. This is our way of like holding up a mirror to them and just showing them how ridiculous that they look to us.
Yeah. I like the AOC cartoons are a genius. The Alex Jones ones are pretty funny as well. But people have been asking me, what's the best way to get a hold of this? I've just been sending people to Marco Polo 501c3 X Twitter, but this is actually available on PDF on the internet. I mean, you can view.
For free at BidenReport.com, BidenReport.com. Dude, shout out to Marco Polo and Garrett Ziegler. Like all of this other stuff I'm doing with laptop and otherwise was they paved the way. Hunter Biden is suing them for all kinds of like ridiculous, like, oh, you edited my photos. Yeah, we cropped out all of your dick pics, buddy. Like, really? Like, right? We took it easy on you, bro. Like, not the other way around. But they're facing the lawfare. They're under attack. right? Constantly smeared in the media. So go to bidenreport.com. You can see completely free the report, but order yourself a hard copy and play the laptop challenge with your friends. Like, right, you don't have to give them money. You will be stunned if you just like, hey, give me a page between 1 and 636. And like, if they pick anything in like the mid hundreds, you're going to open it up. There's going to be pictures and videos and bank records and receipts of crimes that everybody ultimately asked themselves the question, right? If I had done this and it found its way to law enforcement, would I be on trial for 3 paperwork charges related to a gun purchase? Or would I be sitting in a jail cell, a federal penitentiary? Probably, my guess would be 20 to 50 years at a minimum.
Yeah, no, I think actually you can open source the laptop challenge, get other citizen journalists to get the book, go out and do a laptop challenge in the local community, do it on camera, put the clips up on Twitter, tag Dustin and tag Marco Polo 501c3. I mean, this is a good way to promote the report, plus get people to play the laptop challenge, because if you don't actually play the laptop challenge, you can't possibly feel and understand the gravity of the material that you're dealing with. I think it's an awesome you should just open source that, Dustin. Let it rip. Do a competition.
I will make it go viral. Like me and Patrick, we'll use our audiences to boost it. I know Marco Polo will. We're going to do it again. This Hunter Biden has another trial coming up in September. Robert Davi from he played a 007 villain. He was in Goonies.
The filmmaker, he did
like 500 movies. He also did My Son Hunter.
That's right.
We have some very exciting stuff with Robert Davi doing the laptop challenge coming up. Mm-hmm. Like stay tuned on that. And again, the censorship worked, and we have polling that shows, Patrick, that if people had been aware that the stuff on Hunter Biden's laptop was real, as much as 20% of people would have impacted their vote, which would have been more than enough to swing Wisconsin and Georgia and Arizona and the rest of the battleground states in 2020, which is why they went to the incredible lengths that they did to discredit and censor the truth about Hunter Biden's laptop. Now we have complete and total confirmation. There was a laptop. It was not modified. It was not edited. It was real, and people need to know about it. And I'll say this about the Hunter Biden report. Because there are so many crimes, like you look at that thing, and I mean, it's a hefty book. Like, it is hefty. And it might be a little intimidating. And what we wanted to show with the laptop challenge is that you can literally close your eyes, throw a dart at any of these things and read it off. And the details are just immaculately done in the report. So shout out to Marco Polo, Garrett Ziegler, bidenreport.com. Like, right. I encourage everybody to put their support, like order yourself a physical copy. And listen, if you go do the laptop challenge, right? Do it with your friends, record a video of it. And we have a lot of distribution. Like, there's good chance your video will get hundreds of thousands of views if you go out and do it. And most importantly, though, is it's a very concise way, which is for people. That was the funny thing. No matter what page they landed on when we showed them the menu, right? It sticks with them. Like, wait, you mean I could have landed on a page where there were inappropriate sexual chats between members of the family? Yeah, actually, in ways that when you actually like dive into it, I think a lot of people find it hard to believe until you see it in black and white, like how incestuous the Bidens are in a very literal way.
That's perhaps the most shocking aspect of it to delve into. You should post the guidelines for the laptop challenge on your social media so everybody knows how to play the game. And then off we go. I think you can bring it to a community or a college campus near you. Bring it to New York, actually. They need to be they need a little shock therapy maybe after the Trump trial. Dustin, amazing. And then how can people follow your work? What organizations? I know about America Mission. Give that a shout. And your new organization as well. How can they support your work as well? Let us know.
Yeah, so I mean, really, if you follow me at Dustin Stockton, I'm regularly in spaces. I often have all of the most high-profile guests you can get. I would love to interact with you guys, and look for the content. So these teams work really hard to produce all of this different content. We put a huge amount of investment in it, and America Mission is my political wing. Incredible team there who are constantly doing, like we are in touch with dozens of candidates all over the country. We've been working on a unified platform and a bunch of other big stuff. And I'll probably be coming to a city near you. We're coming into prime time, and I'm planning to hit the campaign trail hard and be at, like, Tucker Carlson's got a city-to-city tour. I'll probably be at several of those. I'll probably be at most of the Trump rallies, the conventions, the debates, and all kinds of, like, I plan on basically trying to keep the stamina of Donald Trump between now and the election. And so I'm going to try to get out and then meet as many of the people in the U.S. as I possibly can. And as always, Patrick, I'm always honored to join you and TNT Radio. I love what you guys are doing here, and always happy to provide updates, and appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to share the good word.
Yeah, and thanks for being on the ground in Wilmington, Delaware, and bringing us the information about this story. Big thank you. Shout out to everybody you're working with, or your whole team. Garrett Ziegler from Marco Polo, of course, doing the job of the prosecution. All we need is a prosecutor to look at the book at this point. They've already done all the work. So, amazing effort there. And again, people, you can go to all the places we mentioned. I'll drop some of these links in the TNT chat community as well, if you guys missed any of that. And we'll drop the links as well in the video description when we put this segment out on our various channels. Dustin Stockton, thank you very much. Laptop Challenge, America Mission, appreciate you.
Patrick, you're the man. TNT, you guys, love you guys. Thanks for always having me. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Here he goes, ladies and gentlemen. And also a big thank you to Mats Nilsson from Sweden in our #1 European elections. We got more on that tomorrow. Plus, we have a Turkish parliamentarian where we talk about Turkey's pivot to BRICS away from Europe. All this is happening tomorrow. So you want to be here, same time, same place. I'm your host, Patrick Henningsen. It's been great having you guys. Take care. All the best.
You are about to hear today's news talk and the voice of freedom. That's what this country's all about. Today's news talk, TNT.